Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Dave Lundahl. Well, this is the second in a series of webinars about the Aspirational Compass Project. And for those of you that were here attending last month's webinar, you'll see this is kind of part two. But for those of you that are not, we'll do some updates to orient you to what is the Aspirational Compass Project and why is it important. And so we'll go from there. And just as a few introductions, first about Insights Now. If you're new to Insights Now, we are a marketing research company. We focus on a mission to apply a toolbox of very behavioral techniques to generate insights that really focus on inspiring and guiding innovation and marketing for a cleaner, healthier, happier world. And today we're going to discuss the application of a new behavioral technique that we developed, which is proven to be just fabulous, and that we use to measure consumer demand and to generate insights in the application you're going to see today to discover sort of new opportunities and white space for the purpose of tilting innovation towards a more sustainable future. Now, it's got a lot of other applications beyond that, as you will see, but this will be the focus as we kind of go through this sort of case study. So again, further by way of introduction, I'm Dave Lundahl. I'm the CEO for Insights Now. I've been involved, with this company since its founding, and I'm here with Greg Stuckey.
Yeah, Greg? Absolutely. Thanks, Dave. Greg Stuckey, Chief Research Officer here at Insights Now, and absolutely delighted to be presenting on this particular topic because I think understanding what people are missing out on in life is an important way and an important combination of new pieces of information that we can use to inspire innovation.
Yeah. So some just housekeeping. This webinar series is new to you. At the very end, we'll do some Q&A, but you can utilize this little chat feature that you all have access to through this, basically, what is it, webinars or
at the bottom of the page through Zoom.
Bottom of the page, yeah, Zoom. And so you can type in your questions as they come to you anytime, and we'll then address them at the end. All right.
Yep.
So I'm going to start here with this idea. What does tilting innovation for a sustainable future mean? Is it whether you're an insights professional, whether you're a marketer, whether you're working in the innovation strategy area, whether you're a product developer, whatever your role is, you have an opportunity to make a difference in this area of sustainability. And that is by tilting innovation. Because and you do this by understanding shopper and consumer diversity today, as we'll be talking about. I believe the opportunity is to then better align people as audiences or shoppers or consumers, however you want to think about these people, to orient them to products that have the right positioning. And to do that in ways that you can solve some of the biggest challenges of the world. And one of those is certainly about sustainability. Now, we have a lot of change going on today, both change from a perspective about consumers, as well as change that is going on in the industry. From a consumer side, there is a tremendous amount of change going on in consumer trust. And Greg and I and others at Insights Now have given a number of webinars on this topic, as well as topic about a lot of change in social media, how that is influencing people and how the role of influence marketing, as well as a tremendous amount of implicit biases that people have. We all have points of view, and these points of view sort of orient us to either towards information and content that we say, yep, that's true, it fits with what I believe in, or things that do not, we tend to disconfirm that when they don't align with our basic points of view. Now, there's also a tremendous amount of change going on in what consumers' needs are, what are their choice motivations in the moments that they are involved in, because moments matter, and moments are at the core. The context really influences a lot of this. So there's a lot of change, so today, people are concerned about price, and we're seeing that in this information that we're going to be showing today. Now, all of this drives demand, change in demand. And today we'll be focusing on demand through the lens of aspirations that people have, as well as what they actually do. What are their buying criteria they're using today in reality, and what are the trade-offs they make? Now, all this drives, a lot of, there's change going on the industry side. So all of you, I'm sure, that are working on the corporate side, the client side, so to speak, have ESG initiatives. I'm sure a lot of you that are working in innovation, ESG is becoming a piece of that. And so that's really important. Also, I know there's a lot of challenges going on with regard to sourcing, ingredient sourcing, materials for packaging sourcing, and so on. There is certainly the need for bottom line growth, but you have the ESG side, kind of this environmental, social governance sort of, that's a bottom line that is different from financial bottom line. And so innovation is one way in which you can achieve both bottom lines. And when innovations come out to the marketplace, it actually exposes consumers, it changes consumers, it changes their buying criteria, it changes their demand as well. So this is the change, this is the lens that was the underpinnings for what we call the Aspirational Compass Project. Really exciting, and I'm really excited to really talk about this. This is some work that came out of field in August, so it's brand new. And we presented part of the results, some of the results last month at this webinar. It involved about 2,900 shoppers, primary shoppers here in North America. And we did that so we can identify consumers' aspirations versus reality, what they do, to understand their trade-offs, so that we can understand how to create white space to fill the gaps between people's aspirations and what they're actually doing. So Greg is going to do a lot of talk about gaps. I'll be talking a lot about gaps and so on today. Now, the really cool methodology that we developed could be easily taken on any sort of screen device. We show here, and so what we did is it's 77 different types of attributes that are either aspirational or what people are actually doing. And we used actually we asked people generally, what do you do? What are your aspirations? And what are you actually doing for in your shopping decisions? And then we actually focus on 6 different moments. So Greg is going to be showcasing one of those moments today. And so we can really understand and get down to really understanding some elements of behavior. If you look at these 77 different sort of motivations, they could be bucketed into nutritional, ethical, enjoyment, convenience, clean label, safety, sustainability, restricted diets, quality, and price value. And these can be then further thought of in terms of, for instance, sustainability is all about, packaging. Sustainability is one set of motivations that we looked at, such as, recyclable, or compostable or minimal packaging. And sustainable sources is all about various types of ingredients. Is it ethical? Is it carbon neutral, and so on and so forth. That's an example, as well as you can delve into any of these. So we'll be talking about things that are either that are focused on more generalizations into these 10 different buckets today as we talk through things. And so the idea is to fill these gaps, to find the gaps between aspirations and what realities that people are actually doing. In addition to that, we're really trying to focus on discovering opportunities to tilt innovation towards sustainability. You'll see a lot of our examples will be in this way. Okay. So with that, Greg,
Yeah.
why don't you take us through some of the data?
Thanks. All right, today we're going to be showing what we call some lollipop graphs. And in this, you're going to see a couple of different data points. First of all, you're going to see the scales, percentage of people on this scale. So in this example, this is price value. We have the far right dot, which is the percentage of people who said, I aspire to buy products on that have good price, good value. So you've got the size of the desire, which is the far right side. And then the space that's missing on the left is the size of the percentage of people who've actually achieved that goal. So I aspire to buy clean label 68%, and I actually, I aspire to buy on price value, and I actually get price value. In reality, I actually shop against price value. So 39% of people say that. What's we're going to be focusing on is the length of this bar, which is the size of the gap. And that's the people who want to buy on price value, but don't get to buy on price value for whatever reason. And so we're going to be looking at those gaps today, and we're going to be looking at what are the things that are the most aspirational and the least aspirational. So if we look across everything, just in general, thinking about when you're shopping for food and beverage, what's top of the list? What do you want the most? What are you aspiring to buy, have as a characteristic of the products you buy the most? Number one is price value. Shouldn't be surprising to any of us. However, if we look at where are the biggest gaps, what are the things that are important to people, but they're not getting them today? Quality, real food, and sustainable source are the top three gaps. And you can see that something like sustainable source, it goes all the way down into single digits. Only 5% of the people are even saying they feel like they're able to buy sustainably sourced products today.
Yeah,
So we
this
have
is a big
huge
aha.
gap, huge gap.
Big aha. Yeah.
Big aha for us. Now, and honestly, I didn't expect that. What I expected was the next item here, which is that great tasting and delicious would be number 2 on the list. Maybe okay, I can give it to quality up there, but I expected that to be way up top. I certainly didn't expect it to be below sustainable. So one of the things that we were really surprised about was that in general, that's a little bit that's down there a little bit. And being taught that taste means everything made us think, interesting. There's something happening with taste. There's something happening with people's aspirations. What they really aspire to versus what they're actually doing are going to be meaningful here, because we certainly see a lot of products on the market that aren't the upper echelon of taste, but yet are still reasonably successful. So this is maybe a part indicator of that. All right, so now let's take a look at a very specific moment, because that talking about things in general is nice and helpful, but it's really when you get into very specific product categories and buying for products for specific moments in your life that these aspirations really take on a little bit more meaning, and you have the ability to really start saying, okay, how do we within this specific space tilt our innovation? So we're going to look at shopping for sandwich meats, and this covers the space of both animal and plant-based meats, and it's for an easy to prepare meal. So we put people in that mindset. Now, what we did is we took a look, we said, okay, where do we think we are going to see some big differences in terms of people's aspirations? And we assumed, since sustainable was so high on that list and such a big gap, that perhaps if we look at the people who buy animal only versus the people who buy a mix of animal and plant-based sandwich meats, that we might see differences between those two groups of people. So if we look at the first group, which is our animal meat only shoppers, one of the things that we see here is that certainly price value, still very, very high on the list. Quality, great tasting, delicious slides up to number 3 on this list. It's a lot more important in this particular space, but it's a very small gap. They tend to be getting what they're looking for there. So if we compare this then to the people who buy the sandwich or the plant-based or are integrating plant-based sandwich meats in, we start to see a different story. We notice that price value at the very top much less aspirational. And that I think is super fascinating. If you go to the next, Dave, you'll see that great tasting. Look how big that gap is. It was all, the third most important for animal meat shoppers, but it's way down on the list in terms of what the people who are buying in the plant-based section are seeking out. So super fascinating.
Big difference.
Yeah. And now it's interesting. It's not a huge gap, right? But there is still a gap there and an opportunity. Now, so where are the biggest gaps, though? The big gaps here are in real food, sustainable packaging, sustainable source. And that's kind of the pattern we expected to see, given the fact that sustainable is so big and the plant-based movement, if you will, has a lot of roots in environmental sustainable value propositions. Now, it's not the only proposition there, but it certainly has some roots there. And we do see that sustainable source, a lot more aspirational for plant-based and dual shoppers, and a huge, huge gap. All right, now, if we take one more step forward and we say, okay, these two groups, how else do they differ? What kind of trade-offs are they making? If we look at environmental friendliness, we would expect and do see that plant-based shoppers, that's the green bars, those are much more influenced by environmental friendly products. And if we look at trade-offs that they make, though, and this trade-off question was asked as a forced choice. So which would you choose? An environmentally friendly product, but it costs more. And we see only 36% of animal-based shoppers said that they would pay more or choose an environmentally friendly product that costs more versus one that costs less, that isn't environmentally friendly, but costs less. Whereas 61% of the people that are those dual shoppers are willing to pay more to get that environmental friendly. Convenience is about the same. Taste, just like we saw before, 48% of those dual shoppers willing to trade off taste for environmentally friendliness. Only 19% of people in that animals meats only shopper group are willing to trade off taste to get environmentally friendly. So you can see certainly some really big gaps there. And those gaps started leading us to say, okay, well, there's a lot more going on here in terms of people, in terms of how they're organizing their life. And we need to take a deeper look at the segments and the different types of people and personas that exist in here.
Right. Yeah. So what we did here is, in order to really understand, deeper, said, are there any common themes that go beyond just the moments like the sandwich meat moment, and whether people are buying plant-based or animal-based and whatever, but are there any sort of common themes that we can sort of look at, different types of personas that we can look at that can really help us understand more key, what is really going on today with regard to aspirations and these gaps. And so the behavioral science approach that we took can be really thought of as starting with something that I'm sure anyone who's works in market research, any insights professional, I'm sure a lot of marketers know this, a very fundamental sort of construct is this idea of Maslow's needs hierarchy. And so what this says is that people, their motivations for what they will do, and think about shopping behavior for food products, if someone is, let's say, food insecure, that means that they're down, the security area is a very fundamental low level. That is going to drive their behaviors. They're going to be shopping for bargains. They're going to be very price sensitive as a key driver, a key motivator. But once people have enough sort of income in order that they can, where food security is no longer the issue, they have some discretionary spending, then they can actually look at things more higher aspirational things like love and belonging and self-esteem and self-actualization. So what we did is we used these ideas of looking at aspirations, gaps, and trade-offs, And we looked at all 2,900 people in this sample, and we found that there are 7 key personas that are really interesting, that are important to think about. How do we align, who these people are and the products that we can develop through innovations or renovations or marketing to really to activate them, to have something that really makes sense in their lives. And so I'm going to go through all 7 of these fairly quickly, and then we'll get back to Greg. So the first group, this is very fundamental down here. We call these the base campers. This is 27% of our sample, and these are Gen Pop. So it's 27% of primary shoppers in North America, roughly. And so these base campers are very price sensitive. They are the most price sensitive. They're the bargain shoppers. Some of these people are probably food insecure because their income levels are lower. 1 out of 4 had income less than $25,000 a year. This is household income. They tend to have a little lower education, So their aspirations were all about getting a good deal, nothing higher order, And but taste was still an important to them, but they will not trade away price for convenience, health, or sustainability and like that. Now, the next group, we call these day trippers. They're about 8% of the sample. These people are also very price sensitive. They're willing to wander a little bit up the mountain with higher level aspirations, because they will seek not only taste, but quality and convenience, as long as it's at an affordable price. These people tend to be a little bit older, and maybe some of them are, on fixed incomes and so on. But they have a spectrum of people that are younger as well. But they are very aspirational. They will seek novelty, but novelty for them means simple line extensions like a new flavor or some new way to make something a little bit more convenient, as long as it's affordable. Affordability is still really important. Now, the third group, we call these path seekers. Very different persona. These people are highly aspirational for more healthy product alternatives. They're very aspirational for sustainability, products that sustain, but they're really struggling to find an affordable path up the mountain. These people, as Greg was showing a little bit ago, and we'll show some more about these people, I should say, these path seekers really can't find a way up the mountain because they are very price constrained. They tend to be lower income level, very much, like your base campers. So anyway, they will trade away convenience and taste, but not for, price. The price is really, really important to them. The third group is, one more thing. These people tend to be younger, and which was a theme I'm going to bring back here in a minute when we talk about some of the other groups. Now, claim stakers, this is about 11% of the sample. These people are aspirational for claims that really align with their personal dietary lifestyles. These people will buy products if it's free from, low sugar, low fat, low carbohydrates, claims that are on the nutritional facts on the back panel, as well as things that are more overtly on the front panel of a packaging, So it's these people will avoid products that do not taste good, but they're not going to trade away things. They have more discretionary income, so they will pay more money for things that are more aligned with their personal dietary lifestyle. Now, if you're going to market a more tilt innovation towards this group, you can't overtly say this is sustainability. It's not going to matter to them. You need to take a more sustainable product and market it as something that is addressing their personal dietary lifestyles, such as free from or low sugar, low fat, and so on. And so the next group is going further up. These also are very aspirational people. these people actually look a lot like, from demographics, like the people that are, I've talked about the ones that are seeking a way up the mountain, but they are trend followers. They're aspirational, but they have very, very simple heuristics and how they purchase products. The thing that really popped for them more than anything as a decision criteria is this idea of real food and whatever that is. And so these people buy a lot of plant-based products, but you ask them why, is it, well, it's real food, this is also, about 61% were male shoppers. They tended to have younger, under the age of 35, with children in the household, but they had higher discretionary income, so willing to spend. Now, the sixth group is committed trekkers. Now, these are about 8% of the sample. For those of you that have been on other webinars, we've talked a lot about in the past clean label enthusiasts. These are your core clean label enthusiasts. These people really seek to have a clean eating lifestyle. They are highly motivated by the ingredient statement in the back. 89%, if it's a new product, they will be reading the ingredient statement to make a decision whether they're going to buy this. 75% claim some specific eating or dietary lifestyle. 96% list real food as an aspiration. 92%, use buying, real food as a criteria. So this is really interesting group, but very highly aspirational. But it's a very simple type of, it's very focused on, I should say, on this idea of clean eating and clean label. The last group, these are our pioneers. These are aspiring, highly aspirational. They're sustainability first shoppers. They're willing to pay more. They will trade away taste even and convenience for sustainability. Really interesting group. 15% of the sample are people that fit into this bucket. 70% will claim some sort of eating or dietary lifestyle. So this is a lifestyle for them. And they will buy a lot of plant-based products. And so their heuristics are a lot more complex. And so now, if you're going to target these groups for tilting innovation, it's a no-brainer. Sustainability first, claims, and they will buy. If you are a committed trekker, if you're a sustainable product, it's not going to be about sustainability for them. You need to be positioning those products as something that is clean label. If you're a casual follower, sustainability works really well for that group as well. So, but then position it as real food that is more sustainable, and you'll get winners there. So, sort of summary of this part in terms of how we develop these personas, and so looking at the aspirations, gaps, and trade-offs. You see these different percentages, really interesting. So if you're going to create a sustainable product, who do you target? How would you orient these products? And as I say, pioneers, your casual followers, and your path seekers are the ones that will really buy along sustainability. But if you're going to try to embrace path seekers, you need to have the price down towards the same price as other non-plant-based products. So the plant-based alternatives versus meat, those analogs need to be priced accordingly, which is, not what we're saying, is what Greg is going to show here in a minute. But what Greg's going to show is that I think there's opportunities for sustainability across all these segments. And so Greg, take her away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this was now super exciting. So we're going to go back to the sandwich meat purchasing scenario here. And now that we looked at plant the people who buy animal only, people who buy plant within their diet. And so one of the first things we wanted to know was, well, okay, across those 7 different persona groups, how does that break out? And so when we took a look at that, we were actually kind of surprised at how this laid out. I'll go to the next slide there, Dave. We've got the pioneers and the committed trekkers and the casual followers all have high percentages of their groups who are buying in that the plant-based space for sandwich meats. Now, if you remember, Dave said that the pioneers, the casual followers, and the path seekers were the ones that were by far and above the highest on sustainability, and you could just call out sustainability, and that's what they were excited about. But the path seekers are not buying plant-based sandwich meats. They're only 8% in this particular group. So why such a low level? Another thing that you can see there very, very quickly, was that it's the bottom 3 groups, right? The path seekers, the day trippers, and the base campers. None of those people are very little purchasing of the sustainability of the plant-based products within that space. All right, so let's take a look at the data overall. Let's look at one particular group. Let's look more at the path seekers. So I'm going to look at the sandwich meat moment, but we're going to essentially ghost over. This is the overall, all the people, all sandwich meat buyers, what are their aspirations look like? You can see that price, value, quality, real food are up there. Now we're just going to overlay the path seekers. And when we overlay the path seekers, we see a couple of things. Number one, price value is much more important, much more aspirational to the path seekers than it is overall. Quality, more important. We see that different characteristics that are really, really big gaps are free from, simple food, sustainable food. Notice the sustainable food's basically 0, right? And that goes along with that 8% that we were seeing. That people are saying, I can't buy sustainable food in the plant-based, sustainable food in the sandwich meat section. The path seekers are hoping to have it, but can't. Animal welfare, that's the next one down on that list there. A lot of, 50% of the people are aspirational to buy things that talk about the animal welfare, yet very few people are finding that available to them today. So this made us wonder, well, why do we think this is? And we know that this group is also very price sensitive, right? We know that from an income standpoint, this is a lower income group. So we started to take a look at, well, let's take a look at those types of claims on products. Let's go out, and we went out and grabbed data from Mintel's database to say, well, where are the products that are positioned this way in terms of price? If you look at the average price per 100 grams of all products in the sandwich meat section, you see it's $3.48. If you look at those that are just claimed to have free from as one of their value propositions, $4.36. Things with the animal welfare claim up to $5.50. Products with sustainable source as a claim all the way up to $6.26, almost double the price for the same for a sandwich meat. So the people who are going to be very financially challenged, such as these path seekers, while they aspire to buy products with good animal welfare and sustainable sources, they have to make a trade-off because of their income and where they're at in life, and they're simply not capable of, in many cases, and others not willing to make that price trade-off to get what they need. So from an innovation standpoint, there's certainly an opportunity to bring some of those value oriented products into the store so that people like this who are really seeking those products could actually integrate them into their life. So, and I think there's a lot of other areas though. So if we look at just the types of claims that are being used for animal based sandwich meats and we'll put the top 6 claims, most common claims being used, we see it's things like gluten-free. We see that it's, low reduced allergen, no additives, microwavables pretty high on that list, premium all natural products. So that's in the animal space. We go to the plant-based sandwich meat section, the top claims are completely different. You have plant-based, GMO-free, vegan, low reduced cholesterol, ease of use, and kosher. Notice that sustainability didn't make the top 6. Notice that animal welfare, true animal welfare, doesn't really make that top list as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, I would say fairly easy renovation, marketing opportunities to communicate better to people in this space. There's a lot of people seeking sustainable sourced products, and the products that we know that exist out there that do have sustainable sources, just not calling it out, just not putting that forefront on people's
Yeah.
packaging.
Given the gaps that we saw,
Yeah.
this is a huge aha, and in addition to the pricing issues. Yep.
Right. And there's also on the plant-based side, there's no things that are going to hit that second group, or the claims stakers group, right? So we only saw a small group there. Where's the low fat option? Where's the low sodium? Where are those types of claims out there? Can definitely just look at each and every one of those groups and say, wow, do I have a product already that targets that? Boy, reposition, communicate. Do I have an opportunity to build a product that would hit that particular group? Fantastic. Rebuild, right? Do some good innovation. Put that together. Now, back in the spring, we went to the Natural Products Expo West conference, and we wrote a Naturally Trending report. And we went back to that and said, well, what kind of innovations were being introduced at the time? Where did we see trends and patterns in the plant-based sandwich meat section? And we noticed that basically all of the innovations going on there were all around meat analog. So it's novelty products like prosciutto, pastrami, capicola, different types of carpaccios. That's great. That's fantastic innovation. All of those are going to be driving their value proposition towards the pioneers, just that group at the top of the mountain, if you will. So there's huge opportunities in this space for the plant-based and more sustainable products to grow, right? It's kind of an immature category. There's opportunities to differentiate, opportunities to grow. And just as a way to highlight or put a pinpoint on that, if we go to the ground meat section, right, where we're looking at that's been out there for a little bit longer, it's a little bit more mature, we're already seeing that product start to get away from just analogs and move into things that you're celebrating the plant-based source, celebrating where these products come from and their environmental roots. So there's certainly an opportunity here within this to continue to grow, to continue to find new ways to target different groups across that innovation pipeline.
I was amazed that these patties don't look like an animal-based meat product. Very different, but they're innovative. They're creating diversity and points of difference. Yep.
Absolutely. So a few things that we could do, just here's throwing a few ideas out there just for the sandwich meat section. If you want to target areas, and this could be animal or plant-based, there's just some claim or communication areas that are just missing, if you will, or very uncommon in this space that could easily tag each of these. So the pioneers talking more about sustainable, talking more about real food, with committed trekkers talking about free from nutrition facts, bringing in the sense of family to them. That's a big piece for them. You can go down and down and down this list, and you can see, if you want to hit that group at the bottom, you're going to also have to nail down price. You're going to have to find ways to uncover that piece as well.
Yeah. So, as I was saying earlier, in my sort of introduction comments here, this aspirational compass project is really trying to create a new lens to really understand these gaps as a way to create opportunities, to build white space, to create not seek white space out there, but to look for ways that you can create white space. And so as an example, this idea of tilting innovation towards to a more sustainable future. If you just think about sustainable products such as plant-based foods, this sort of aspirational based sort of way of looking at these personas, casual followers and pioneers, that makes up 47% of the sample, 40% of primary shoppers. These are seeking products that are positioned as sustainable. And we have a lot of opportunities. As Greg said, well, didn't make the top 6 at all,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity here. Now, the committed trekkers and your claim stakers is about 19%, they're willing to buy more sustainable food alternatives, but they have to be positioned in the right way, addressing specific health claims, or clean label, as committed trekkers are all about, or these free from, so a product to be sustainable doesn't have to be overtly sustainable. It can have these other qualities that align with greater reach in the marketplace. Now, if you want to get to path seekers, these people will buy things sustainable if you could actually find ways through your innovation, tilting innovation towards lower cost alternatives. You're going to increase the reach by bringing in path seekers, which is another 9% of the sample, which I think can bring more people into this category and can have greater impact on DEI as one of your bottom line sort of things you're trying to influence. Now, your day trippers, your base campers, just like your committed trekkers and claim stakers, it's not about sustainability. They're not going to buy things because it's going to lower greenhouse gas or animal friendly and so on. But if you can still take these products that are more sustainable, drop the price so they're affordable, but position them as something that's great tasting, things that are more convenient, you're going to be able to achieve, much broader reach for the products that you can design and bring to market that are positioned in these ways. So, kind of summarizing, and Greg, you can jump in here as well, please. But this idea of tilting innovation, huge opportunities. And this idea of looking at the gaps between people's aspirations and what they're actually doing, understanding the trade-offs, and through these shopping personas, I think really deepens the understanding back to that slide about demand, a new way of thinking about demand, so that we can really hit the bottom line, your double bottom line on DEI, as well as, DEI, ESG, as well as your financial bottom line, because the more success you can have in bringing products out to market, greater reach you can have through your positioning and products in the right way, the more you're going to be able to achieve both these goals. And this sets a foundation, a new way to think about creating white space to drive to a more sustainable future, which I think we all can aspire to as marketers, as innovators, as strategists, in the companies, and as insights professionals for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to remember that people I think this shined a light on the whole world for us to say, whoa, people care more than you think they care. And they're just not showing it through their actions today, possibly because we haven't created the source for them to do so. And we haven't aligned with the communications that they're seeking out right now. So I think there's a lot of people out there that really do want to move this way. There's a lot of people who would move this way if you were able to accomplish something else, right? So I think that those two things go hand in glove, and both are opportunistic to tilt that innovation. Like you said, clean label. I mean, you can move them towards more sustainable products, and they will love that. But they're not going to sacrifice the label. They're not going to sacrifice quality ingredients from their vantage point, right? So all those things are nice little tilts. Doesn't take much in your innovation process to move those things forward.
Right. So with that said, questions.
Yeah. Well, we have a question here right off the top. The first one is do we know of any other differences in demographics for those who are plant-based versus not? Or said another way, those who put sustainable source closer to the top versus those who didn't. So do we know any other demographic differences
Yeah,
between the types of people that are sustainable versus less sustainable or less
yeah. I mean,
aspirational? Go ahead.
Gen Zs,
Yeah,
people,
no doubt.
or Gen Xers for that matter, millennials, younger demographics. We see a huge difference in these cohorts and younger
Yeah.
cohorts, which towards sustainability, right, Greg?
Yeah, there was definitely certainly an age distribution there that you would expect if you look at a lot of demos across a lot of different types of topic areas. But certainly the aspect of age was certainly skewed. I'm sure there's more. I know that education, higher education, was associated more with sustainability. And then obviously we talked about income already, right? Like there, a lot of the people that had those higher incomes are clearly doing the behaviors that are more sustainable. We saw that in that bottom group, the people who were struggling with the finances, some of them were very aspirational, but I think like Dave talked about with Maslow's hierarchy, when you're in that space, you're not ready to get to those aspirational spaces in life yet.
Right. At the Natural Products Expo back in March, 60% of all the new product innovations that we surveyed, and we surveyed every single company that was in the food industry, 60% had products that had a sustainability positioning in some part. And I thought that was significant, but the natural products industry, that was your pioneers. The pioneers have the biggest percentage of people that buy at natural food stores. So it's not as fully mainstream, but if you look at the other sort of areas, and especially you'll see that there's huge opportunities for sustainable products. That is a great question.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Next question is connecting in with the real and clean claim. So, do we know anything about animal versus plant, and the perception of what real or clean means when they see those terms within that context? So this is that real food, right? We talked about it being really important. What does that mean to people? How do they take that in? We know that they value the idea of real food. Is it different for people who are in the plant-based space versus not?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is clearly yes. Real food has a lot of different meanings to different people, and I think this idea of real food is hugely important. So like natural has been a really important, so non-artificial and so on. Natural and clean label have a lot of components of sort of definitions. Clean label, very specific definitions around ingredients. But this idea of real food is interesting because it goes beyond clean label. And that's why, we titled this webinar is going beyond clean label. And so real food, I think, is the next. We need to understand more about real food. Yeah. And I think it's category by category. I think it's looking at these lenses, these different personas as well.
Yeah, it's for sure. And we have only a little bit of information going on right now in terms of understanding that. So for instance, one of the things we know that people push on real heavily, especially in the clean label enthusiast space from research in the past, is that if it's viewed as highly processed, so if it has those cues that makes your brain say, a machine made that, then you're cueing off that it's not, quote, real. And you see that even filtering into things like vegetables, right? It's fresh vegetable, but it's cut clearly by a machine to make into a certain shape or anything, suddenly it's not as real as or authentic, et cetera, so forth. So we do know that the idea of high level of processing is a concern for people, but it's more about the sensory cues that make them believe it's been processed by a machine versus whether it actually has scientifically or not.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
one piece, but I'm sure that there is a lot of other components that, as
Yeah.
this market shifts and changes.
Well, the casual followers,
Yeah.
the point about heuristics,
Yeah.
what is that sort of, stepwise sort of way that people, react when they see things and then think about, buying choices for something that's new. And that group, the thing that popped was this idea of a very simple heuristic is real food. So if someone has a, a fuzzy construct that is based on some sort of marketing or other information that they've had as a point of view, is one thing. Other people, it may be a much more rigorous definition. For be real food, it has to have this. So I think it's category to category dependent on what this is
Yeah.
that defines what real food is.
Yeah, it's completely true. Yeah, if you're asking somebody what real food means in that sandwich meat space, you do expect a convenient oriented product, sliced, et cetera, so forth. So there's certainly some standards of identity, if you will, from the consumer's vantage point. So you're right, it's going to be very category specific and product type specific. So it's going to be important, and we certainly are seeing within this, it's really important to look within each specific category space, each different type of moment you're focusing on, in order to really uncover some of those nuanced needs. And then, following this type of workup with good or conversational behavioral ethnography as well, to make sure we understand how do those things work, how do we integrate that into people's lives in those moments.
Yep.
So yeah, certainly very important.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
The ones that I see, actually, I think we talked a lot and moved around a little bit. So the only other ones I see here, it looks like we've covered all of those at this point.
All right.
So with nothing else, I think that's been a pretty good session here.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of wrapping here. So let's continue this conversation. Greg and I and everybody at Insights Now are highly motivated around this whole idea. This is part of our mission. We're deeply committed to, this sort of idea of tilting innovation for a sustainable future, as well as other ways of understanding these aspirations and gaps. So next month at a webinar, we're going to do probably part 3. Well, not probably, we will do part 3. Yeah. And it's going to be really delving into some more examples and more applications for how we, for what we've discovered through this new methodology. And there's some really, really cool applications that we're starting to realize. So opportunities to really create, a white space, for innovation, to create, discover, how to renovate lines, products, and so on and so forth. So, so anyways, good conversation. We want to continue it. Click on this QR code, or actually share this QR code with others, because obviously if you're here today with us, you've signed up. Yep. Greg,
right.
anything?
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear more from you. If you have challenging questions for us, want to hear more about it, definitely just reach out. There's a lot of depth to this knowledge base that we're uncovering daily here at Insights Now. So definitely reach out, definitely ask your questions. We're excited to have this conversation and help move more towards a more sustainable future.
Yeah. And by the way, this webinar today, as well as last month, if you're interested in this topic, are recorded and we'll post this recording here the next day or so. And the one from last month's already there. So you can just hop on our website, or you can, click through this QR code and you'll be able to get access to things. Okay, to share out. All right. All right.
All
Everybody
right.
have a great.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.